Giggles.
Welcome.
I'm Leonie.
And I'm Crystal-Dior.
Yes. And today we are talking about disgruntled employees,
disgruntled
individuals,
people,
human beings.
Yes. Listen, after the day and week I had, I want to name this episode "Nuck If You Buck," but I won't.
Nuck If You Buck.
But I won't. We're gonna keep.
We both on that same energy today. Let me tell you, it's been a week.
It's been a week. Lord Jesus.
Listen. We didn't even talk. We had a conversation before we even turned on the mics, and we didn't even talk about this other situation that we're dealing with together.
Way too much, y'all. So
yes.
the subtopic is "Nuck If You Buck." But let's jump to our one-liners.
Okay,
you go first.
Yes, here goes mine. You may ruffle my feathers, but you can't break my soul.
That sounds real inspired.
Exactly.
Okay, mine is, this is a little long. Strap in as Maestro turns office grumbles into growth strategies.
Okay.
It sounded a little bit better when I was writing it.
You need to be this. Let me tell you, we're going to do an episode on how to do an actual GPT prompt. Because you could be getting better results from ChatGPT.
She could be coming from my one-liner, y'all.
No, I'm coming for ChatGPT. I'm coming for your prompting skills. Okay, we're gonna work on that.
We're gonna get it together. But go ahead, let's do this. Who said that?
Okay. Oh, you hate your job? Why didn't you say so? There's a support group for that. It's called Everybody, and they meet at the bar. Okay.
I have no idea. Whoever said this is a complicated thinker, because this was way too much for a quote. Who said this?
So, he's a comedian.
Kevin Hart.
No. He had his own show back in like Friends days.
Steve Harvey.
Nope. He hosted The Price is Right.
Price is Right.
And he was on Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Bernie Mac?
No. Bernie Mac is not on any of those.
I don't know who's on those. Those aren't.
Okay, Drew Carey. His name is Drew Carey.
Oh, a white comedian. Yeah. She should have told me. I don't know that many of those. I literally don't know that many of those. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry to this man.
I would have, like, when I think my brain didn't even think about it wasn't a black comedian.
I thought you were going to say Wayne Brady at first, because he really fits all those things except for having his own show.
He was on Who He Was on His Line.
Wayne Brady should have his own show by now.
He should. I feel like he's probably underrated. Like, they don't.
He is.
Like, he's not bowing to the king or something.
I don't know.
He didn't go to the Diddy party. I'm just kidding.
Oh, no. Okay. So, back to the topic of the day.
Topic of the day.
Disgruntled folks.
Yeah, people who are mad at their bosses, or your boss is mad at you. It can go both ways.
And you just mad at the world.
You just mad at everybody. That's real.
I'm a disgruntled earth inhabitor.
It'd be happening. It'd be like that.
So, okay. So the first person we're going to talk about, she's been in the rumor mill quite a bit
for a while.
And we actually mentioned her on our previous episode. We did. And I want to set the record straight on something. Uh-huh. So we're talking about Amanda Seales.
Yes.
So last time we talked about her, I was like, I don't know, because I don't keep up with her on a regular basis. So I'm like, has she said something cancelable? I don't know. I don't know if she's cancelable. So I'm like, I didn't know where to stand then. But when I got off, I was like, you know what? She's prickly for sure. I don't know her personally at all, but I stand by her and I agree with her in a lot of things that she stands for and things like that. So I'm like, let's unpack a lot what's going on.
I don't think she never says anything that is necessarily incorrect. Her delivery is usually the problem. Right. And I know people are like, oh, it doesn't matter, but it does. Delivery, if people don't receive what you're saying, you might as well. Who cares if it's the truth if people don't receive it? I think her delivery is a problem. But I wouldn't say she's one of my favorite people to watch on, like, when she does, like, talk shows or something. Right. She just, like, her delivery just makes me cringe sometimes. But in her interview at Club with Shannon Sharp on Club Shay Shay, this is probably the only time I've heard her do an interview where I was mad for her.
Okay.
Because I felt like, I'm sure she thought this was supposed to be a safe space-ish, or at least a space for her to be heard. And he kind of already came with like an objective.
Preconceived notions for sure. Whereas like she was probably known as the problem maker, and he came in there like, well, what's the problem?
He had an objective, it felt like. Because even he did like an after interview with like Ocho Cinco or something like that. And they brought it up and he was like, well, I just want her to know the world isn't against her. So it's like he came in with the objective of telling her whatever she's saying.
Like invalidating her before she even hear her.
Like, he already knew how he thought she thought. So he was coming in to try to reverse that.
Exactly.
And so I'm like, that's not really giving her a chance.
It wasn't.
Because maybe every time she thinks it's a race issue, it's not. Maybe. But that doesn't mean it never is. If that makes sense.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
It absolutely does make sense. And the issue is like, I'm in this interview. We're not here to talk about that. And there are nuances to this.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't heard those details. So why are you already prejudging the situation? Well, why? Maybe it wasn't that. Maybe that was just being the kid. It's like, you don't have to do that. You weren't there. That. Like, let her, like, don't try to defend somebody else's position. Like she said, this is my interview.
You weren't there.
So you don't need to cross-reference my experience or cross-examine my experience for what? It's my interview. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm.
Well, jumping to her and Issa Rae, because it's hard with that, right? Because everyone loves Issa Rae.
Right.
Yes. She's like our princess. Our child right yeah. But I really do love Issa. I've always loved her since Awkward Black Girl. Yes. I've loved Issa. But something Amanda said I could not disagree with. So apparently there's some drama where Amanda was removed from an insecure party. First of all, that should never happen. She's on cast.
And the way she described it, I'm like, this is...
Like rejected at the door.
This is mortifying.
Like bully type of stuff.
Like, why would... In a public space, in a gala, like, what is going on?
And she is currently on this show.
That's nuts.
She is currently a regular seasons in on this show, and she is blocked at the door for the insecure party.
By a publicist?
By Issa Rae's publicist.
Like, or you're not... Why?
So I felt like that's just... I mean, entertainment industry doesn't really have... I think they have HR maybe, but it's, it's not like corporate HR to where anything really happens.
Right. Well, even in corporate HR, nothing happens.
That's true.
Times. They're on the side of...
the employer.
Yes.
So she said when it was brought to Issa... Issa was just like, it's between the two of you. Issa didn't come to defend her, which I thought was wrong. Because Amanda is
like, this
Issa...
is not a friendship group. This is work.
Issa is the boss.
Right.
These are both her employees. One employee did something directly inappropriate to the other. It is your job to make sure there's peace on your team.
Absolutely.
It's your job to make sure people aren't being treated unfairly. It's your job to make sure if this one did this one wrong and it's being brought to you, that you help resolve it, not be like, oh. Like, it's not like this is a friend group disagreement. This is a work professional thing. And I felt like in that situation, Issa should have jumped in and checked her publicist and apologized to Amanda for that. Like, it just made that I thought, okay.
What it sounds like to me is like there was no conflict management that is like a standard procedure within whatever the Issa's organization is or whatever organization was running the show or whatever at the time. Because what I normally do when I'm writing a handbook for a company is when there comes to conflict resolution, there is a section where it's like you need to, if you have an issue with anybody on the team or whatever, to go to them first, try to resolve it.
Right.
If that doesn't work, escalate it. If that's not clarified to anybody, I don't know how the movie industry works and all that stuff. If they have anything like that, if they don't, I would highly recommend that you do, being that there is so many conflicts all the time.
And this is the thing, just because someone's a boss does not mean they're a leader. And in this situation, it feels like Issa's the boss, but she's not a leader.
Yeah.
And when you're a leader, you have to be set apart from those you lead. You can't be besties with your employees, because when it's time to make decisions and when it's time to make sure things are fair, now you're conflicted because she's probably friends with the publicist. They probably keyed about Amanda, right?
Right.
So, like, if Issa wants to be a boss, she has to be a leader. Like, in the corporate world, it's very rare that you see the managers keying with the CEO, right? And even usually in those situations, you can be cool with them. But it's like when your mom is like, I ain't your little friend. There's a reason for that, because I'm going to have to reprimand you.
So I think so here's the thing. I think there are different styles of leadership that should be implemented in whatever your industry is or what type of culture you're trying to lead. So I've been in situations where the owner of the business treats everybody like family.
Yeah.
And they don't show up on time. They just do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And that's where the line is drawn. Like, that's too much. I think it's okay for certain levels of your organization for you to be friendly with people.
Friendly is different than friends,
right? There shouldn't be any loyalties on
right.
Side.
That's what I'm saying,
right? So that is also when the line is crossed.
Yeah, but
you can still be friendly. You can even still have a personal relationship with somebody, but there needs to be understanding.
There has to be
when it comes to
a separation.
Workplace, affairs. It's a gray area in some cases, so you need to give me that grace and not hold that against me.
There has to be a strong line to where we're cool, but I'm still your boss, and I have to make leadership decisions.
Right.
Not you're my homie. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I think in this situation, because Issa, she didn't want to get in between her friend, publicist, and she wasn't able to be the leader she should have been for Amanda. And that's not cool, because that puts Amanda in an uncomfortable position. Right. Right? Because even if she had checked the publicist back, she doesn't know how Issa's going to respond.
Clearly, what would have happened to you if you acted that way towards any of Issa's team members? Because the thing about the publicist is she's directly related. Like, she works for Issa and only Issa. She doesn't work for anybody else on the cast, I assume. So the publicist's loyalty is to Issa. Yeah. But Issa does not need to only withhold loyalty to her publicist if you're the boss.
And the publicist needs to, I feel like if Issa, and the thing is, in the corporate world, you watch it and you're trained on leadership. Like, you're trained on some. Well, you should be. The good companies that run functionally, which there aren't many, they're trained on having difficult conversations, how to be effective leaders, how to manage your team. Like, and so yes, you could be cool, but there's a line. Like, the corporate world I grew up in, you can be friends with your bosses, but don't be getting crazy drunk, sharing your drama, right? Because it never works out.
You'd be surprised how many places that life happens where there's like just mayhem going on.
And it always backfires. There has to be a clear line. It has to be like, we're cool, but I know not to cross this line. I know that this is still a work setting. I know that at the end of the day, she's the boss.
All that is true. So what do you do in that situation where you're in like an Amanda Seales problem and there's an issue with somebody you have at work? Your boss is not doing their job. Mm-hmm. They're like basically kind of like, my hands, I'm going to keep my hands. There's actually a situation like this in Selling Sunset. Have you watched that show on Netflix? So it's these women who are in this real estate firm, and they're all close and all that stuff, so they have their own dramas. And one of the ladies was like, "This is your friend, and she's doing this to me, but you're responsible for everybody, so you need to talk to them." Yeah, like, this is between you guys. That's nothing to do with me. No, it's not. Figure it out. It's like you need to be a leader. Yeah, step up. When it's like, if you're afraid of conflict, then you don't need to be in a supervisor role. Yes, because that is what comes with managing people. There's going to be some disagreements. Yeah, it doesn't always have to be like a knockout, drag down situation. Yeah, but you need to be able to have tough conversations.
Yeah, and your team needs to know that while you're the leader of this whatever organization, that they are not allowed to disrespect each other. They're not allowed to just do whatever they want in this workspace. Clearly, her publicist thought she could do that.
Right. And clearly, I wonder if Issa had been saying things about Amanda to the publicist for them to both be in agreement with disrespect. Yeah,
because clearly the publicist felt empowered to do that, and like nothing would happen to her if she did, and nothing did.
And you don't have to fire. It's like, I'm not going to fire my publicist over somebody I'm not even close with. But it's like, you, at the very minimum, tell that publicist, we still worked. We have to work together, so we're going to keep it cute. Yeah,
and that's a horrible environment to be in. Like, it's and so Amanda did what she had to do. She got through her job, and then she's probably never going to work in that situation again. She's probably removing herself from working with Issa, and I would too in that situation. And it's awkward. I had a situation like that when I worked for I won't even say what industry, but I worked for this other company, and my boss, he was very nice, very cool, but he wasn't a leader. And so people under him who were equal to me thought they could lead. So they would say little things like, I would ask him, "Oh, can I work remote today because my car wasn't working?" He's like, "No problem." Yeah, no problem. Yeah, you can work remote, right? But then people at work saw I was working remote. They had a problem with it. Okay. Right? So he comes to me, oh, well, they kind of have a problem with it. So can you come in?
No. Excuse me? What do you feel?
You told me it was okay. The boss. You're the leader. But he was always like that. Or I remember they were, everyone who worked at this company had been there a while. So they were very chatty, right? Mm-hmm. They would spend half the workday chatting about their lives, going from office to office. I'm not that person at work. I come to work to get a paycheck and do my job, and I leave. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm friendly when we're in the team meetings. I make everybody laugh. Yeah. But it's not an all-day thing. You're not going to know what I do when I leave here. You don't need to know who my mama is. You don't need to know who I'm dating.
Get a check, okay?
I kiki with you during the kiki hours, okay? My lunch break is not a kiki hour. Stop. That's my time, okay? 8 a.m. when I get there. Don't come knocking on my door.
What is kiki hours at work then? So for
kiki hours,
to say 9 to 5 it's not really 9 to 5.
Kiki hours,
like 8 to 6 or something like that.
Kiki hours is when I'm going to get water at the refrigerator. Okay, you can kiki with me then. Mm-hmm. When I'm walking in the office, as I go to my office, you can kiki with me on the way to the office. Okay. Team meetings. If the boss want to have a kiki team meeting, we can kiki. He scaled this meet. He want kiki during this meet. We can kiki.
Okay, so you're approximately at Crystal's job with Crystal. You got maybe 35 minutes of kiki time sprinkled throughout the day.
Throughout the day. Okay. So I noticed they kiki a lot. Okay. And it was making it hard for me to get my work done. So I started closing my door because they left their doors open so they can come in, kiki in and out. Okay. So I would leave my door open for the first 15 minutes that I got there, and I would close it, and I would open it back up like around the time I'm leaving. And so I guess they had a problem with that. So they told him, Crystal's antisocial. She always has her door closed. Right? Now, mind you, when I first got there, him and I talked about it. I said, I know I seem like an extrovert because I'm fun, but I'm really not. I'm really
not fun.
I told him.
I really am
I'm really
not talking to me.
I really don't want you to talk to me. You know? But I know I feel like you think I'm an extrovert because when I get up to do public speaking, I'm fun. And then the team meetings, I'm fun. Like, but it will literally drain me. Yeah. If I'm just talking to people all day.
Right. And I'm like, I need time to decompress. When I'm talking, that means my mind is going.
Yes.
If I'm talking all day and I can't be talking while I'm working.
All day.
Like, let me work.
Yeah. And the thing is, I was working in the mental health field at the time. So most of my day I'm meeting with students. That's already me talking all day. So I need to save my energy for them. I don't need you coming in here telling me about, I don't care. Right. So I didn't tell him that, but I said, I get when they come in and out of my office, and I had this one coworker, she would sit there for like an hour just talking. And I'm just like, and I would start typing so she would get the clue. She'll just keep talking. Yeah. And so I told him that in the beginning. He was like, oh, no problem. Close your door. We don't mind. A weekend. Well, they kind of feel like you should open your door.
I hate that. I had the same type of situation. But I won't even talk about that. That I have another moment I'm going to share later. But that whole cubicle life.
That type of leadership.
I don't want that because everybody can feel like they can just swivel their chair around and start talking to you.
And it's like, who's the boss here? So you tell me it's okay, and then they don't like it, so then you tell me it's not okay. You say your car's broken, no worries, work from home. Oh, they kind of don't want you to work from home because they like to see. You know what I'm doing. I'm checking in with you, telling you. And I remember even one situation, the front desk attendant, I messaged her and said, hey, I will be working from home today. If you need me, you can ping me, right? She went to him, well, why is Crystal working from home? Mind you, he knew I was working from home. I told him what was going on with my car. I told him when I would be coming back because he is my boss. Why am I telling the front desk receptionist? He's like, well, the culture here is like usually when someone isn't there, they kind of just tell why they're not there. That's my personal. I don't have to tell her, oh, I have a doctor's appointment. She's not my boss. But because he didn't have a leader, he was very beta. He wasn't like an alpha leader like that. He didn't want to ruffle anyone's feathers.
You don't have to be an alpha leader to know how to lead. It's really very simple. Honestly, as you respect people, you listen to people, and you respond. That's how. And there's a lot of things to that. We can get into it in many episodes about that. But what I'm noticing is that people who are in leadership positions are extremely comfortable with people being miserable at work.
Yeah, they don't care.
And if you want to get your agenda met, you want your goals to be met, you want your performances to increase, you need to be investing in people in a way that is going to make them feel excited to come to work. You don't have to coddle. You don't have to give 1,000 things like a tech company who wants to put a slide in the middle of the building.
They want you there all the time. That's why they're putting a slide up in there.
You don't need, it doesn't have to be that, but you need to at least be a pillar in the company so they can at least feel secure in the job that they're doing.
Yes, and knowing who they report to. And I feel like even with Amanda and Issa, she kind of reminded me of that boss of where he just was like, whatever, I'm not going to, they don't like it, so you shouldn't do it. Who is the boss here? So I feel like those situations, there should be a separation. Like, it should be clear boundaries. Like, you don't have to, Crystal told me where she's at. And I know what's going on.
There's probably no strategies being met at that place. If everybody's opinion can sway the leader into doing whatever they want.
Who's the leader?
That means you do not have anything. You're not leading this ship to go in any direction. Yeah. It's just going everywhere.
Yeah. And so what I did, I was like, bet, no problem. And I just told him, I sent him an email because I'm a quick emailer. When I feel like you playing with me, I'm a quick, let me get receipts. Let me document. I am quick on it. Mm-hmm. And so after I met with him and he told me, oh, next time just let them know what you're doing so they don't come ask me what you're doing. It's none of their business. I literally...
First of all, why is anybody asking about me?
Because the front desk woman had been there 20 years, so she kind of felt like she ran the office.
No.
Okay?
And
so I literally emailed him and I said, hey, per your request, you want me to tell her when I have to be out of office and why I'm going to be out of office? My employment agreement said that you were my direct report. I don't feel comfortable sharing my personal business with everyone on the team. So if you feel like you need to tell her where I'm at, that's fine. But I do not feel comfortable doing that. And I said, but if this becomes a bigger problem, we need to add HR to this conversation. I am very open to that. And he just responded and said, I'm so sorry you feel like we need to bring in HR. I'll handle it. Great.
That's what needs to happen. Like, why do I have to tell you how to do your job?
Bet. And I got real, because usually when people, and we'll talk about this later, because I'm so kind and chill and fun and make jokes, people think that they can try me. And so I know she thought she could try me by going to him, because she did ask me when I came back, oh, where were you? I said, I was out. Oh, what were you out doing? Out.
Like, why do you need to know this?
And I laughed. Oh, I was just out. So I didn't answer her. So she went to him and she thought, oh, he's going to, ma'am, no. Not.
That's not today, not ever.
Because you're not my friend. We are coworkers. Mm-hmm. We are coworkers. Friends got your back. You got my back? Clearly not, because you went to the boss about where I was at.
Yeah. So anyway, back to Issa. It's like we went on a tangent.
We went on a tangent. Be a real boss.
Be a boss that can stand your own. Don't be somebody who is always just going which way, or just letting your employees run amok, or letting people treat somebody because you're afraid or you don't want to get into it or whatever. Yeah. Like, don't be that. Don't
bow out of leadership. Don't bow out of difficult conversations.
Exactly.
That's really what it is. People don't want to have these difficult conversations. Issa didn't want to, she didn't want to be at odds with her publicist over Amanda.
But going back to like Amanda, I related to a lot of things she was expressing in her interview with Shannon Sharp, because I am much more smoother edges than I used to. But coming into the workforce when I was fresh, like young 20s, I definitely had that. I didn't know how to play the game. I wasn't about office politics. I was very blunt and direct when I spoke. I was extremely honest, thinking like, I'm honest. Like, what's wrong with that? Like, sometimes I did have a tone. So
a tone.
I definitely have been working on that my entire life. But what I relate to with Amanda is that I don't do this chummy thing. And if that's what you want from me, then I can't be that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't relate to that. They don't like direct people. They don't like when you are speaking the truth a lot of times, sometimes in a harsh way. And that, rightfully so, can ruffle people's feathers.
I hear you. I think people feel like you're supposed to bend your personality to what's comfortable for them.
Yes.
And that's not fair.
People who always like stand on their ground, like, this is who I am. And she said that she has a soft diagnosis of autism, right, on the spectrum, right?
And I believe her.
And I'm not going to speak that about myself, but I'm like, I want to get checked out.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I relate to that in so much, where I feel like I've been misunderstood in workplaces. I mean, it's what drove me to be an entrepreneur, because I just feel like for some reason I feel like I could be off-putting to people. Yeah. And I just don't have the capacity to bend to what appeases everybody.
And a big part of being, I'm not going to say it's just for Black women in the workplace, but let's say it's just for women in the workplace. We are expected to assimilate, period. We're expected to go with the flow, not push any feathers or make any changes or ruffle anything. We're supposed to be grateful that we're hired, come in and do what we're told to do. And when you don't do that, or when you try to make changes, or when you're coming in with suggestions, now you're seen as difficult. Now you're seen as a problem starter. Now you're seen as hard to work with, just because you're not agreeing. You know what I mean? And I think that that's just a part of the corporate culture, because I've seen other people doing it not be a problem. Like in that same workplace, I had a coworker who was a separate gender than me, separate race than me, and he was never in the office. Never there. Now he was a little bit more chummy with everybody. So they had like a little group text, and they would go to happy hour and stuff together after work. So him not being there wasn't a problem. But me not being there and them not knowing why I wasn't there, and they're like, well, what is she doing? Now it's a problem, but I'm getting my work done. He's not getting his work done. He's not showing up. He spends half his day chit-chatting and then misses his appointments. But I come, do my work, come in on time, leave on time. But because you're not in my personal life, or because I offer suggestions that you don't like, now I'm the difficult one. And so it's just like, like I know how to assimilate. I've done it. I did it for years and I hated it. So I decided I'm not doing it anymore.
Well, I agree with that. Done. And so, I mean, I definitely agree with what you're saying. I'm not saying I haven't had experiences like that, but my experience that I'm referring to was from an all-Black place.
Well, Amanda,
and it was a hot.
It's still mess. People want you to just come in and assimilate. They want to. She wasn't friends with everybody.
It's like, okay,
and that was the problem.
Exactly. She's not friendly. Now, the thing that I would say, Amanda Seals, I feel like she maybe would people would have more grace with her, is how she talks to people, because she does sound like she's talking down to people. She does a lot. Like if she senses any speckle of stupid, she's gonna pull it out and show it to your face. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that is trying to make somebody feel stupid. And the thing is, gonna get you anywhere.
I'm not sure if that's always, because even when the way she explained it on Club Shay Shay, she's just like, but if you're wrong, you're wrong. And those are the moments where I think I understand her diagnosis, because I've worked with people on the spectrum before, and they don't understand always the social norms of things. They don't understand always certain tones when it comes to things. They're just very like, well, it's wrong. Yes. I'm not telling you you're dumb. I'm just saying
it's wrong. It's like
that's wrong.
Matter of fact. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying I relate to. The social cues type of things. And yeah. Like, I catch up on social cues, but like I'm really kind of oblivious and unaware a lot of times in social spaces.
Yeah. So people probably wanted her to be more like, oh no, I understand what you're saying, but this is what it is. She's like, no, you're wrong. Like she doesn't. So I don't think she's meaning to talk down. It's just she doesn't understand how to. Especially if you talk about this has been her issue since she was a child. Right. In college. She doesn't. So that's why I'm like, I think she might be. I don't think she's trying to be a mean girl. Because usually mean girls have a clique. If we're being honest.
I know. She doesn't have a clique.
It's just her. Usually people aren't mean girls by themselves.
That's true.
Usually they're mean girls. They have their crew and all their crew's mean. They're telling their crew how to be mean to you.
The way her story tells it, it's like Issa Rae is the mean girl. She said she laughed in her face.
Like think about bullies. Usually bullies aren't loners.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. Usually bullies have a group who they bully you with.
Yes. Or who can validate their bullying.
Usually the loners are the ones being bullied. Right. So in this situation, I'm like, I don't think she's a bully. I think you guys don't like her, which is different than her being a bully.
What is also crazy is like, and we're going to get too much on tangent. We have other people to talk about, but how the pile on for her from all these other media outlets and stuff like that, where it's like, what is the gain that we're getting here by all teaming up on somebody who literally stays quiet? She's not really out here like Kanye, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, what is the point of teaming up on somebody? Like, and you're not revealing anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's like with the whole Diddy situation, people are revealing alleged situations.
Yeah, that's different.
Like, nobody said she slapped anybody or cussed anybody out.
She's
like,
just not nice to you.
Yes.
She doesn't know how to be socially friendly.
Right.
She ain't your buddy.
Right.
But
so it's like when you're in the workplace and you're not a socially acceptable type of person, how do you find your space? Because for me, I always had like a side hustle or something. I was like, and I'm like, I'm going to get what I can out of this role and then move on or something like that. Like I'm not going to keep all my eggs in this basket and like all my hopes and dreams of like this job is going to do this for me and stuff like that, because I already knew that this is not my vibe. I got to get up out of here, and that's frankly I think any job for me.
Yeah. No, and mind you, in other episodes, I'm not even a fan of Amanda like that.
Right. First, you're not a fan of anybody.
That's true. So I'm not like, go Amanda. It's just in this situation, wrong is wrong. And I felt bad for her because I've been in work environments where it feels like your boss doesn't have your back and like people just can free flow and do whatever they want. And it's not a fun environment. And so I'm sorry that she felt that way, especially on a set like with a black producer. Like, that's so cool to even be in that environment and for it not to be empowering. That sucks.
It does suck. And you think like, well, I'm finally going to have the experience that I've always been wanting. Yeah. And you go and it's more the same.
Yeah. You know But let's jump to like Taraji, because although Taraji didn't maybe have the same situation as Amanda, Taraji had a situation where she felt like she was being treated differently and not getting paid the way other people should get paid. And mind you, I have mixed feelings on her approach to this, because I like Taraji and I feel like her approach is going to get her blacklisted. Oh. But I do understand her feeling like she needs to speak up for herself. But I want her to still get paid. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, corporate America, entertainment industry, it's all corporate. It's all about who you know. It's all about all that. And she ruffled some feathers, and it's,
She did. She called some people out. And what is surprising to me is that at this time, where this is not the first time there's been a conversation about a wage gap, and it's just not the first time she's even said something about a wage gap. I'd be surprised if she doesn't, her next role or something that she does, somebody doesn't rally around her. And if it's better, I hope that she says it. Don't just talk about the stuff that isn't working. Talk about the stuff that is working. But the on the other side, it's like I'm hoping that something positive comes out of this and that people do rally around her. But the other thing is, if you are the main person advocating for something that is not changed yet, it's likely that you can get tossed to the side, and then the people that you advocated for get what you're wanting.
It happens all the time. The like they say, the whistleblowers are protected, but not really. You know what I mean? No. Like most times,
looked at us like a snitch.
Yeah, just like I never say Kubernetes.
Who?
Colin
Kaepernick.
There you go, Kaepernick. Like, he did something first, but then many did it after him. But he's the one who still is blacklisted. Right. He just did it first. Many did it after him. Many. But he got the grunt of it. He's still getting the grunt of it.
He is.
Are we happy that he did it? Yeah, because it did trigger change.
The same. He wants his career back. It's not coming back.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. And it just sucks, because there's going to be like the sacrificial lamb for change. There's always a sacrificial lamb for change.
Right.
It's just a part of change. I just didn't want it to be Taraji. I
don't want it to be Taraji either. But if anybody can come back and like turn the story around, I know it's Taraji. Yeah,
they said in Time magazine that she was one of the most influential people.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm hoping, and that was recently. So I'm hoping that this is the beginning of some good press that's going to turn this around. Yeah. And I want it to be a freedom story. I wanted to be a victory story.
I mean, she can pivot. Even if she gets blacklisted in this industry, there's so many others. There's so many other things she can do. And I hope they don't blacklist her. But the thing sometimes about our culture, we can be a little bit meaner than others. Yes. We're not always as protective of each other as we should be.
Absolutely not.
And so,
to be quite frank.
Right. And so because not that she purposely kind of put a hole in the Color Purple promotion. Her talking about this almost in every press situation during the promotion of this movie. The movie flopped. Essentially, it did not do very good.
Do you think it flopped because she was saying things?
I think so, because the momentum wasn't built, because
everybody was talking about this,
and everyone thought that Oprah did her wrong, and it wasn't that, and people were confused about what and so she was talking about it during this press, so people thought, oh, the Color Purple did her wrong, and so I didn't go see it because I was just like, no, I don't even want to see it anymore.
You haven't seen it?
Still haven't.
Well, I didn't go into the movie theater to see it because I just don't like movie theaters that much anymore. But I did see it when it came. It came on TV very fast.
I still haven't seen it.
I loved it. I
heard it was good. I just haven't got around to it.
It's really good. And first of all, Fantasia.
I love her.
I love any time she gets to open her mouth and sing. It's the best.
No, I heard it was good. So the fact that it didn't do well, I just feel like it kind of did put a little bit of a little damper on it. So that wasn't great. And so I just hope that this doesn't cause people to be like, let's be careful when we put her on a movie.
Because, I mean, for the longest, all her only movies were coming from Tyler Perry, it seemed like.
Yeah, for a bit.
And in that space, so it's like, I want her to pivot, and I want her to succeed.
Yeah, and then she has to, now that she's said her piece, she has to be mindful of her voice now, right? Because they're going to be mindful of her voice. Because they're going to be walking on eggshells around her for a minute, which is fine, but she has to be mindful of that, because at some point it will be, is it worth hiring her? Because if we accidentally make her mad, is she going to get on the press tour and talk about it? So everyone's listening to her, right? You know what I mean? Like, all that comes in with influence.
Let me tell you, I've had experience like this in a previous job where I came in, people were complaining about this person. I advocated. I went to that person's boss. I went to the HR. I did all these things coming in hot. Like, this is wrong. I'm going to, I'm not going to tolerate this, and not trying to be like, I'm going to save the people type of thing. But it's like, I just don't want to stand for injustice type of thing. And it backfired, because what you realize is also people will be chatting with you like, yeah, girl, or yeah, like, that's unfair. That don't make no sense. We need to do something about that. And then you're like, and then you the person who's like about something, you're not just going to talk about it, you're going to be about it. And then you go and
they don't back you.
Do the thing that everybody's talking about, they want to do. And then when it comes, they want to scratch the back of their neck. Yeah. It's like, excuse me, I thought we was all riled up about this. Yeah. So anybody who is back there hyping Taraji, they better be supporting her. Like, girl, I can't believe they don't pay us, and and then not supporting her behind the scenes, 100%, not speaking up on her behalf.
That will happen.
Check yourself, because if you want change, you got to be able to support the person who's willing to stick their neck out for the change.
100%. Same thing. No, I completely agree. But then that jumps to Monique, right? Now, this has been an ongoing.
Years and years.
And years.
Talk about disgruntled. Monique is
the most disgruntled
Hollywood employee.
Yes, and she knows she's been blacklisted. Everyone knows she's been blacklisted, and all her closest friends are like, "Ooh, let me step away from that." All the other comedians who used to be her buddy were like, "Oh, hold on, this is our check. You messing with our money." Right?
It's like, oh, you're not cool anymore. The things you're saying, people aren't liking it anymore. Yeah, I agree with you though. It's real, but I gotta,
I gotta pay my bills. Exactly. You know what I mean? It gets like that, and so her situation is similar. Like, they wanted her to do work that they didn't contract her to do. They didn't pay her to do it. She was like, I'm not going to do it, and then they got mad and they blacklisted her for that. Right? And it's just like, I feel bad because the situation sucks, but then that messed with money in her pocket, and it's like, oh, you have to make the decision when you're going to stand up against a boss or whoever. Am I willing not to have money in my pockets for this cause? Right. And if your answer is yes, go for it. Right. But if your answer is no, then maybe the next battle, or maybe when you feel like it's worth it, but at least have a plan B. At least already have your money saved up in your pocket so you'd be fine. And have multiple streams of income.
They ain't paying us enough money to save, because then they know we be out, so they keep us right under where we can leave. Yeah. But I understand. It's with her situation is so, like, it seems like it's just really incubated. Though it's like she has problems with people I feel like it's different than Taraji's, where it seems like it was like a friendship fallout or something like that.
Who, Taraji's or Monique?
Monique. Maybe I'm not fully understanding what's going on with her.
So she said the pressure. When did Precious come out? A long time ago. Very, 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 very. Yeah, but it was a long time ago. I don't even remember. But years ago. It was a very long time ago. But Pressure did really, really well in the States. Precious, sorry. Precious did really, really well in the States. Her contract for Precious was for its release in the States. She did all the press, promo, everything to premiere the movie in the States. It did really, really, really well. Okay. Then they decided to move it abroad, right? And they wanted her to do press for it abroad, but that wasn't in her contract. Okay. So she said they called her, hey, can you come here to promote the movie? And she said, do I get more money for that? They're like, no. So she said, okay, well, I'll have to decline, So then they had Tyler call her. Mm-hmm. Tyler's like, no, just come on the plane. She's like, they're not willing to pay me more for it. So no. They had Oprah call her. Oprah's like, come, Jet, we're releasing it this here. She's like, no, I'm not getting paid to do that. I'm going to stay with my family.
Was everybody else getting paid?
I'm not sure. Okay. She wasn't. I don't know if everyone else was getting paid, but that wasn't, her contract was for the state launch of the movie, not for wherever else they decided to take this movie. And so she told them no, Tyler, Oprah, and Lee Daniels, no, if I'm not getting paid to do excessive extra promotion of this movie abroad, no, I haven't. She had just had a baby. I think her baby was young. She's a mom. She's like, I've been gone. Like, I'm not getting paid. I'm going to stay with my family. They didn't like that. And so that's how she got blacklisted, because they said that she was difficult, didn't want to promote the movie, this, that, and the other. But they also they didn't draft a new contract, give her money that was worth her going to. So it's like, y'all trying to get free labor.
So this reminds me, this brings to my mind just like workplace, not regular workplaces as well, where there is, people say, this is a job, come to work, they want you to be friendly and stuff like that. But there is this unspoken requirement that you have to just be
available,
go along to get along type of thing. Mm-hmm. And you got to be able to hang out and do stuff and all that things. But when it comes time to the jobs agenda, the company agenda, it's just business when they lay you off or fire you or because they didn't meet their financial quotas or whatever. To get rid of you. Yeah. But when you treat it that way, like, this place can let me go whenever they feel.
You're not
like
a team player.
I'm building somebody else's dream. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to work on, get this money, have a good time, be friendly, be a part of the team, and collect the check so I can build my own dream. Yeah. But when I don't go to all the happy hours and I'm not talking to Tom, if I'm not complimenting Sally, if I'm not laughing with everybody.
Working extra time for free.
Exactly. If I'm not stretching myself to show that I'm really dedicated to this company, who will cut me whenever tomorrow they feel like it, no less. It's like, I don't get the same advancement. I don't get the same respect or treatment as the people who do that. Yeah. And that is not a fair playing ground for people who work and who just want to do their job. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And I think in general, any work environment, whether you're in a small business or you're a corporation,
especially tech,
anything, they want you to go over and beyond for this amount of money. They want you to go over and beyond. But if you aren't willing to go over and beyond, then they want to be like, well, what are you doing? I'm doing exactly what you pay me to do, but what they want you to do extra. There's so many times where companies, someone will get fired, someone will leave, they just give you more work for the same pay. Things like that. It's like, you're not going to give me work.
You keep piling on.
And if I don't do it, now I'm wrong, and now I'm in violation of my
person. I'm not a team player,
and it's not right.
It's not right, and it's like and they call that quiet quitting. Just doing your job and going home. It's like, you are not invested in me in a way that's going to make my life more fruitful than what I can give you. So why would I do that to myself? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it's just toxic. And like, as a leader that I want to be, I don't want an environment where my employees feel like I own them.
Not at all.
It's like, I pay you to do this job. As long as you get your job done, we good. I don't want you to do anything extra. I want you to have a work-life balance. Take your lunch break. Absolutely. If you finish your job early that day, leave early.
And I don't want anybody to think that we're over here talking and like we're not in a leadership position. I have 3 employees, And when we have our conversations about what they need, I make sure that we have, there's an understanding that I want to give you what you need to succeed. What are your goals? Because it's most likely not working with me forever. You may want to start your own thing. You may want to do those things. Let me pour into you. Yeah. Because I want you to feel like you're working towards something. Yeah. Not only that, I'm going to tell you where we're going in this company and what our mission is and how you exactly what you do contributes to the progress of what we're doing in this company. Yeah. So you're invested in this. And you're even more invested in it because I'm supporting whatever your dreams and ideas. Yeah. Obviously, that changes for a company of 100 plus 500. Right. But it could still happen. You know, because you don't
own employees. You are borrowing their talent and their time. They're allowing you access to their talent and their time. You do not own them. And I think that's the mindset difference. Because when you feel like you're borrowing something from someone, you're careful with it, you're cautious with it, and you're grateful for it. But when you think you own something, you treat it different. And I think that that's the problem. Like, they feel like they owned her because she's in this movie and we made her this much money. We made her a star again. So how dare her say no because she's not getting paid to do extra work? No.
Exactly. It's like, I thought we were friends. It's like, and that's where you get caught up, where it's like she was, staying up late nights, having, probably drinks and stuff with Oprah and Tyler Perry. First of all, what a life. Like, right. And then you're doing that with Tyler Perry and Oprah, and they were like, yeah, just come on, do this, girl. It's like those lines get blurred, and when you make a hard line, then they're
like, no one likes boundaries.
Like it's kind of like you let the curtain down, where it's like, you're here for business, you're not here for friendship. Yeah. It's like, actually, I'm here for both, and I would like for you to separate the two and make sure you keep the business in this pot and you keep the personal in this pot.
Yeah, whenever someone's overstepping boundaries, they do not like it when you set them. Period. Right. I remember I worked for this school in Florida, and I definitely was doing a lot more than they were paying me to do, and I knew that, but I liked the job. So when I left and moved here, I gave the guy everything he needed gave him all the information. This is what I've been doing. I ran the department, so I did everything. I gave him notes, attachments, tutorial, everything. A month into my new job, I get an email from him. Hey, I have a question about this. I answered him once. Another week, I get another email. Hey, what about this? I answered him, right? Then it was like 3 months later, and they hired my replacement. I get an email. He CC'd the new girl, emailed me. Hey, so-and-so, I want to introduce you to Crystal. She created this department. She ran it before you, and I think she'll be great in training you on how to do your job.
Excuse me, what? No.
Right? So I was like, I'm so confused. I'm not on payroll. I haven't got no check from y'all since I left. So I emailed him and I said, hey, nice to meet you, whatever your name is. I said, I would love to train. I said, but now we're crossing into me as a consultant. So when you have time this week, let's chat about my consultation fees. Yes. He never replied to me again.
Ever. I don't know what is wrong with people. It's like people just, as soon as you put the official on it, it's like, oh.
Like he wanted me to train her for free?
And there's a time and a place, right? There's a time and a place for you to give your gifts and your talents.
Yes. Ministry.
Right. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But you're not going to cherry pick from me. That's what we're not going to do. Because I had a situation very similar. That job that I was having where I was advocating for people. Mm-hmm. I mean, I got stories for days for this job. You will hear about it all up and through this podcast. But when I left a manual. Mm. Things that people don't do. Anytime I've left a job, I've always left a manual of this is how you do this job. Because these people ain't going to tell you what to do. So here's the manual. And they were calling me like, can you give this? Can you give that? Where's this? And where's that? I said, I left a manual. Yeah. Literally everything you're asking me for is in the manual. So do not call me anymore. Yeah. And I'm off the hook. Because you pushed me out. Yeah. Remember that?
Because people think just because you're kind, then they can take advantage of you. And that's what that is. If you're willing, someone who, I was an employee here and you think I'm going to work for you for free and answer your question, I'm not your troubleshooter. And you don't want to pay me, you're trying to take advantage of me. Right. And that's not cool. So employer, if you're a boss to someone or if you're an employee and you feel like your boss is taking advantage of you, do not take that. I'm not saying go quit your job because you need to pay your bills. But find a strategy out or find a strategy up. Sometimes you got to manage up. Right. Let your boss know your boundaries. I'm off at 5. I take my lunch at this time. Exactly. I've done that. I had a boss who would always like try to give me more work. And I'm like, no. So I put on my calendar and I shared it with her. I'm on lunch. So when she looked at her, she said, oh, Crystal's on lunch. Mm-hmm. I'm on lunch. You don't pay me for 9 hours. You pay me for 8. Right. So that 1 hour that I'm not getting paid, that's my hour. Right. Do not call me. We ain't going to lunch together. Okay? That's my hour. Yes. But no, don't do that to people. Don't do
that to people. And if you're hearing this and you're like, that is me, that's the job I'm at, hang in there. Yeah. Be stringent with your time. Do time blocks. When you have your, like you said, you have your hour lunch or your 30-minute lunch, you have time before and after work. Say, no, I can't do happy hour right now, maybe for 30 days. I got to get some things together because I need to put a plan in motion to get myself out of this situation.
And message us, DM us, if you're trying to figure out how to change your situation so you're in a better environment. We spend most of our lives at work. Yes. People who go into the office, you're spending 40 plus hours at work. Most of the day, when the sun is out, you are at work.
You only get maybe 2 hours of free time. And that's if you don't have kids. If you have kids, you have even less.
Yes. Your family really only gets 2 days and nights. Right. Your job gets from 7 a.m. sometimes to 7 p.m.
And don't forget the commute.
The commute is So you're spending most of your time someplace. So you deserve to be in an environment that isn't draining you, that isn't toxic, that isn't causing you trauma, that you don't need to go to therapy for. You deserve that. Exactly. So if you're in an environment that's toxic, all you have to do is start building a plan out. Don't tell nobody. Don't go telling your boss you're building a plan out.
Right. Don't go tell that. Don't go tell your cubicle mate.
Don't tell nobody.
Don't say nothing. You go home.
Start getting your resume together. Exactly. Start taking courses online that are free to build your skills. Mm-hmm. Ask people around you, the one who's hiring, and get your way. If you have a job now, you can get another one. Period.
And I'm like, right. For instance, there's a time where you have to make a sacrifice as well. Sacrifice your time. I'm in a transition period right now where I have to get up. I can't use my regular day hours to do as much work as I used to at this point. I had to get up at 5 in the morning. Mm-hmm. I said that before. Update on the 5 a.m. club thing. Mm-hmm. I'm getting up at 5 a.m. Okay, and I have 3 hours of quiet where my baby is asleep, my husband is asleep, nobody's asking me for anything, and I can focus, and I get so much done in that 2 to 3 hours than I used to get in 8 hours in the regular day. So you'd be surprised when you dedicate and you get in. I'm going to be spiritual about this. Say, Lord, please have your will in this time. Yeah. Because I need this to be optimized. Let this 3 hours turn into feel like 8 hours, and I can get more done now than I ever did before. Because I have a time crunch, and I believe He will bless that sacrifice.
Yeah, and the thing is, you have to value your peace more than anything. Your peace is important. Your joy is important. Your health is important. Stress will kill you. Period. Stress will literally, not figuratively, not emotionally, it will physically kill you. And if you're in a work environment where you are constantly stressed for 40 hours a week, that is taking away days of your life. So it's not worth it. I feel like back in the day, people just would be miserable in their job, and then they'd be miserable at home because you're miserable at work. Now you're a cranky person because you're cranky at work and you're bringing it home. And like, no one wants to be around that.
And I know you're saying, this is just like millennials. They think everything's supposed to be fun and happy and like you're supposed to enjoy.
I bet we're going to live longer.
Absolutely, we do.
And we get paid more.
And innovation, what is the saying? Basically innovation is birthed from an issue. Yeah. And this is unhappy workers, I consider it to be an extremely huge issue. Yeah. That doesn't have to be the situation. Yeah. Depressed workers, you're spending all all day mad at everybody around you because no one is seeing you. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be that way.
And they also say if you're staying at a job more than 2 years, you're losing money.
Okay.
Because your job is only going to give you a 10% raise every year you're there. But while if you switch jobs, you'll get like 30% more.
That's true.
So if you're miserable, why are you miserable and losing out on money?
Go to another job, and especially I've also heard this. You leave. Somebody straight up told me this when I was working at another big place. They said, "I see more progress when somebody leaves this organization, gets a job, and then they come back.
Yeah, new perspective.
So you can still go back to where you're trying to leave, but you need to go back and get in." get a new skill set, go and build your experience someplace else.
You don't just have to be unhappy. And I think sometimes we think that no one else is going to hire me. I've been here so long and I can't do anything else. And it's so techie out there in the world. There's so many free skill training things you can do for free. Hour training. Google has them. LinkedIn has them. There's so many skills you can pick up to up your qualification, to up your income, and put yourself in a position to find a job that you love.
Right.
Period. And so if you're in an environment that's toxic, there's double standards going on, you're not getting paid enough, your boss isn't protecting you, you're going in here miserable every day, and you're being bullied by your coworkers, start plotting your way out. Start building a plan to overqualify yourself so you can go somewhere that will appreciate you and your skills more, you can get paid more, and you can be in a healthier situation. So
when you have a strategy, you can breathe easy. Because when you start putting KPIs, key performance indicators on your life, and you start to see progress, you will be motivated to get yourself where you want to be.
Yeah, I don't stay anywhere longer than 6 months if I'm unhappy. By the 6 month mark, if I don't like y'all, I promise you I'm going to be gone in 6 more months.
We out.
Okay? Promise you. Okay? But let's jump to things we wish we knew.
Okay, I'll go first. I wish I knew how to invest in myself sooner. When I say that, it's not just like, oh, money, I should have quit my job sooner and, save some money and start my business. And investing in myself, meaning putting myself first at a job. Not overexerting myself, staying up late, trying to be the person that everybody is cool with and all that stuff. Because I want to be seen, I want to be promoted. It's like I wanted to early on focus on my skill sets, focus on what makes me happy, focus on the things that figure out how this job could work on building me, so that how I could give everything to myself to build this job.
Yeah, I love that. I agree. Mine is your boss is not your friend, and neither is HR. Okay. We're not your friend.
HR is the ops, y'all.
Not your friend. Even if I'm your boss one day, I ain't your friend. I'll be a good boss. I ain't your friend. Let's be clear. But
we become friends when we're partners.
Yes. One thing I have not mentioned to y'all this whole episode.
What?
I need y'all to subscribe.
Oh yeah, subscribe
right now.
We would definitely appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe
and write a comment. Give us a little personality. What do you think?
Yes, tell us. I know you related to something in this episode. Yes. So tell us your stories. What happened to you? What they do?
What? Well, I know they did something. All y'all got stories. I know it. Yes. So if you actually want to email us your stories, you can go to gigglesandgoals.com and find all of our information. We would love to read your stories, and we will keep it anonymous, but we would love to do that. So send us your crazy stories.
Or if you would like some advice, send us some questions.
Yes.
And then we'll answer.
How to plot out. If you need a plot out, y'all, I'm the queen of plotting out. Okay? So if you need to plot out, send us your story, then we will plot you out. You could be out of there in a year or less.
Okay. We'll do that. That's a course right there.
Listen.
Yeah, how to leave your job in a year.
Yes, and how do we get you a new one? When I tell you I be out socializing karaoke bars trying to get my friends jobs, a guy will be...
Crystal, she do be the plug.
Listen, a guy will be trying to hit on me, and I'll be like, what do you do for work? Is your job hiring? Yes, you can have my number if you refer my friend. Listen, I don't play. Okay? I do not play. So if that's you, let me know. Okay? And we love y'all, and we will see you next week.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.